Hello, welcome to Say Ain't So. My name's Iona and today I'll be teaching you how to make children's t-shirts. You will need an old t-shirt to cut up, some jersey fabric, a sewing machine with a zigzag stitch, sharp pair of scissors, pins, thread and a bobbin. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our t-shirt and we're going to cut it up into 3 pieces. So we've got our back, our front piece and our sleeve piece. And we're going to take each of the pieces and we're going to fold them in half like that. So we have a centre fold down there, and then we're going to take our fabric and we're going to fold it in half as well, making sure that the pattern is going to be the same way as it should be on the t-shirt. So these horses are facing this way and this way, which is where we want them to be on the t-shirt itself. And then you're going to line up the fold of the t-shirt with the fold of the fabric, and then we're going to pin it down around all the edges. So just put a few pins, this just keeps it nice and flat from cutting it out. And when we cut it out, we have to cut around about 1 centimetre around the edges, and this acts as a seam allowance, because the seam allowance on the t-shirt we've just cut up they've already been used. So if we were to cut around the edges of the t-shirt exactly, then the t-shirt would be too small. So get a sharp pair of scissors and we're just going to cut around the t-shirt, making sure that we're cutting 1 centimetre around it. And this is a part as well that you can, if you want to make any sort of alterations or changes to the t-shirt, for example, make it longer into like a t-shirt dress, or you could cut it up even further to add different patterns, different pieces of jersey. So there we go. Take the pins out and you can then cut out the other 2 pieces, remembering to leave about 1 centimetre seam allowance around the outside. The next step is to unfold all your pieces, and we're going to put the right sides of the fabric together. Every fabric, or most fabrics, have a right side and a wrong side, and in order for the seam to be hidden, we need to sew the right sides together. So I'm going to put the back piece facing up and the front piece on top facing down like that, and we're going to pin the sides and the shoulders together because those are the parts we want to stitch together. So with our pins, put a couple in just to hold them in place. So 2 each side. And then 1 on each shoulder. Just to keep it in place. And we're sewing it together on the machine. We also do the same with the sleeves, so unfold the sleeves. And we have 2 sleeve pieces, 1 for each arm. And what we need to do is fold the right sides together and just put a pin in on the shorter side. Like so. So we're next moving over to the sewing machine, and you'll need a sewing machine that has a zigzag function. And this machine has a really good zigzag function, which you can change the width and the length of the zigzag stitch. And I would say when you're sewing jersey, it's good to use a small zigzag stitch because then there's less tension on the stitch and it's less likely to rip. Whatever you do when you're sewing your jersey, don't pull it or don't create any tension on it, otherwise when it stitches together it'll be all lumpy and weird and you don't really want that in a t-shirt. So just keep it as flat as you can as it's going through the machine. And with the zigzag stitch we're just going to go down each of the edges. Now we have all our pieces stitched together. We have the main body of the t-shirt. I'm just going to go and trim all these wee threads off. the main body of the t-shirt, and we have our 2 sleeves as well. And to put our sleeves into the t-shirt, we have to sew them with the right sides facing. And how we do that is we keep the t-shirt inside out as it is, and then we get our sleeves and turn them the right way. And what we're going to do is we're going to put them inside the t-shirt so the right sides are together. So if you can imagine a t-shirt that's been turned inside out, and we're going to put the sleeves inside the t-shirt like so. So the opening of the sleeve is joined up to the opening on the t-shirt. We also have to join up our 2 hems, so the hem on the sleeve and the hem of the body in the t-shirt. Join them up and put a pin just to hold them in place. And then we kind of loosely shake this out so that it fits. And then we're going to just put a pin up here as well, just to hold that in place. And do the same on the other side. So get our sleeve, turn it the right way. And we're going to put it inside the t-shirt like that, so that the opening on the sleeve is matching the opening on the t-shirt. So I'm going to put that inside, and as well the right sides are together facing. So join up the 2 hems and put a pin in there, and do the same with the shoulder. Give it a wee shake just to make sure that it's not all folded up. Pop a pin in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stitch all the way around the hem here, taking care not to pull the fabric on the sleeve as it's going in. Otherwise we're going to end up with a really lumpy sleeve seam, and that's not going to look very nice. So we'll start under the arm. This is a good place to start, or the best place to start, I would say, because nobody really sees that seam under the arm. So we'll start here, we'll put our back tack in under here. If your machine has it, you can take this bit out, and in that way you can get the sleeve actually over the machine, and then there's no risk of it getting caught up underneath itself, and then you're stitching your sleeve shut by accident. So once you put the sleeves into the t-shirt, we're just going to move the sewing machine out of the way, put this bit back on, so we don't need that anymore, or not yet anyway, and we're going to turn the t-shirt the right way, and our sleeves should be in. Yay! And it's looking like a t-shirt. There we go. The next part that we're going to do is we're going to hem the bottom of the t-shirt, the sleeves, and the neckline. And this is the last part, but it's also the most important, because we have to make sure that all of our hems are nice and neat and everything's lined up. So if you see in this one here, I cut one side of the t-shirt slightly longer than the other. So when we go to hem that, there's a good chance that our hem's going to be a little bit crazy, a bit wonky. So we're just going to trim this so they're the same size. And make sure the sleeves are the same. Nice. Trim off any excess threads as well. And then I'm going to fold up about 1 centimetre. And if you want, you can put a couple of pins in just to keep it in place, because jersey, as it's so stretchy, it doesn't really like to stay in one place while you're sewing it. So pop a couple of pins in. Okay, now it's the neckline. And the neckline is the tricky bit, because you've got to keep it always on the curve. So I'm only going to fold it in a wee bit. And because my zigzag stitch is quite small, I can fold it in just a tiny bit. And again, remember not to pull too much on the jersey fabric, otherwise you'll end up with a really loose neck hole. And there we have a custom made children's t-shirt. Don't forget to iron it, and that will shrink your thread and the fabric back into place, and it will look really neat and ready to wear. Well, that's how you make a kid's t-shirt. And don't forget, you can catch us every Tuesday night in Glasgow at Hillhead Book Club from 6:30 p.m. and every Tuesday night in Edinburgh at the Cabaret Voltaire from 6:30 p.m. for Say It Ain't So. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you soon.